Wind's cold, isn't it? A little bit. Have a seat.
We're about an hour past time to begin. I've been waiting on y'all forever. Why y'all are so late this morning? Been here since 8:30, and somebody told me it was actually 7:30. All right, it's good to see you all this morning. We'll sing a song, and then we'll have a prayer. We'll go to our classes. We'll sing number 501. 501. Oh, worship the King. Can't even talk, so we'll see how well I do when I sing. 501. Oh, worship the King, oh, glorious above, and gratefully sing His wonderful love. I should have given the ancient of days, pavilion splendor and girded with praise. Thy bountiful care, what tongue can recite? It breathes in the air, it shines in the light, it streams from the hills, it descends to the plain, and sweetly distills in the dew and the rain. Well, children of dust and people as men, in thee do we trust, nor by thee to them. Thy mercies how tender, how firm to the end. A maker, defender, redeemer, and friend. Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for another opportunity that you bless us with life, another opportunity that you have given us to come together as Christians and to study the Word this morning. We pray, Father, as we enter into this hour of study, that we will do the best that we can in our study, that we can make application in your scriptures in our lives, and that we can become better Christians. Father, we pray for everyone that is here and their desire to grow closer to you and closer together in fellowship with one another. Help us, Father, to be strong and courageous in thy work and know that this is what we are here to do, is to serve you, to worship you, Father. Help us to do the best we can throughout this day and throughout our lives. Be with those that are not here, whether it be for sickness. We ask that you will give them a day of comfort and rest, and grant a portion of their health back to them. If to be for those that chose not to be here, Father. We may say or do something to encourage them to make their life right. They can see the importance in serving you and know that there might be a time where it'll be too late. Help us, Father, through this hour. Forgive us our sins. In Christ's name.
Might have got I can start, right? I've been hanging all the time. I'm still working, so thank you.
Y'all are like me, by the time you get used to the new time, it kind of changes back again. So, good to see you this morning. In the Orange Book, we're on page number, looks like 25 today. Daniel. When I looked at the lesson, kind of like last week, there's a lot to cover in Daniel. There's first with the personalities of people that he worked with and dealt with, the different governments he served under, the different wars that went on, the historical figures that he was their right-hand man. He was faithful to God, and as a child and as an adult, when we look at his character, he was an excellent example of staying with God, regardless of what authority said, regardless of what the king said. Many times at the risk of being put to death, and God intervened, and saved him from the lions. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. That's one of the first things in his life that we remember. Open your Bibles to Daniel 1. I want to start there with a couple of verses to be read there in Daniel 1. And the author did a real good job going through this, preparing us for Daniel. The historical facts that he did, who he served under, and the years that these different people reigned. One of my, I guess a lot of people have some of their favorite verses, maybe you're in the book of Daniel. Just for lack of a better, I guess, intro, I'm going to start off reading Daniel 1, verse 1, chapter 1. And it goes through, I'll read down to 7, and I won't talk about those first 7 verses. Daniel 1, 1 through 7. In the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried to the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake to Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning and knowledge, and understanding signs, and such that has had the ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning of the tongue of Chaldeans. And the king appointed for them daily provision of king's meat, and of the wine which he drank. So nourished them they 3 years, and thereof he might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name of Belshazzar, and the name of Hananiah, of Shadrach, and Mishael, Meshach, and Azariah, Abednego. Those first 7 verses is a lot to think about. Jerusalem being besieged. They were at war. very peaceful time. Think about the children that they selected. When Nebuchadnezzar chose these people, what did he want? Who was he looking for? That they could work and serve under him. He wanted the best. If you think about it, he wanted the best of the best. He had besieged Jerusalem and of what they captured. He wanted to select few that obviously being cunning in science. He wanted the best of it. He wanted the smartest. He wanted the ones that were thinkers. He probably, we're not told much about him. Every one of his conquests, he probably did the same thing. So in his kingdom, he had the best of the best in that time. This is a world kingdom we're going to get into talking about in the dreams of Nebuchadnezzar later. He was the head of gold. If you think about it in the image that his dreams, he started it all. You think about it, and the mind of those people is what he's looking for. But he also had physical ability also. He didn't do a noble image. He was the best looking, the smartest, and the brightest. In a sense, very vain, but to serve him. And that's what he wanted. There is a fly up here. I'm not magically swatting things out here. So, look like I'm having a fit. That's what I'm chasing. All right. Sorry about that. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel. Those four, in your mind, do you think they were lonely? Being held captive, being led out of Jerusalem, taken to Babylon. At times, I'm sure they were, but they leaned on each other. I think it's one thing, all through the first part of Daniel, you never hear one or two without the other through. They're always Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Even in the interpretation of the dream, Daniel goes back to them, asking for time, and the Lord God gives him the message of the interpretation of the dream. But through Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Daniel were all together. So they were all serving God, all working. If you think about the things that happened to them, they leaned on each other greatly. I'm going to rather read all the rest of, I think we've read the first part of the proof in 10 days. Daniel would not defile himself. That's going to be one of the questions that we're reading. Verse 8, was Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which drank. Therefore he requested the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now God had brought Daniel into favor with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said to David, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should you eat see your faces and words, like in the children of your sword? Then shall he make me and David my head. So he was afraid of King Nebuchadnezzar if he didn't obey. But he agreed to let Daniel and these other three slaves, captives, eat only meat and water. And after 10 days, they looked more fair than the ones that eat the best of the best, basically the king's food. The author on page 25 goes into quite a bit of detail about the years that the Babylon was, different things that was said there. I don't want to get too bogged down because, like I said, there is a lot of historical fact I think that he brings to the front here. I don't know how to skip it down some. If you look at the dates, though, BC, Louis tells the great Hebrew statesman and prophet in service of a heathen government at Babylon. Daniel was the first of the group of captives taken in Jerusalem BC 606. He was of royal blood, and Josephus says that Daniel and his three friends were relatives of King Zedekiah. So relatives of the king would be princes in Judah, in Jerusalem, taken to Babylon to serve their king. These handsome and brilliant young men were under the special care of God and had ready access to the palace of Babylon. They bore witness to the name of God in the heathen court, which they ruled the world, which then ruled the world. They refused the king dainties, and they practiced the food sacrifice of Babylonian idols. Daniel's world rise wide with fame is dedicated to Ezekiel 14, 14-20. Written only 15 years later, Daniel was loyal to his religious convictions and a true servant of Jehovah. Yet he was so loyal to his idolatrous king that he was entrusted with the affairs of the kingdom. The question, I think it's the last question in this lesson that I probably won't get to. Page 29, the author, number 22, is it possible for God's child to serve in a heathen government? Daniel is proof that you can. But you have a lot, just like you said, your convictions have to be above and beyond, I think, what the normal rank and file of the world especially are. Luckily, next week the election will be over. I'm throwing away, I'm filtering mail every day. There's 5 or 6 pieces of mail. The biggest one right now is, of course, Marsha Blackburn and Robertson. Even on TV the other night, I made fun of it because there were 8 commercials between what we were watching and when it started back. And all of them were Bill and Marsha against each other. It's unreal what they've spent to get this seat. They pointed out that they're both liars. They pointed out that they both aren't the best person for the job. So we listened to that for several months now, and it's going to come to the head next week. And I thought this was kind of timely if you think about it. In a sense, we are serving under a heathen government. Does that sound right? Do you think Washington, D.C. fears God? No. A couple of head shakes, no. They don't think about it. I don't think they do. I think when they attend a religious gathering, I think they're there to get votes. I think they don't see anything else other than an opportunity to see a group of people. Sadly, I think that's very common. Like I said, to me, it'd be very hard to be a Christian and serve government. The temptations always on both sides of the aisle. With power comes great responsibility. I think somebody said that. But you can have great conviction too. So that's kind of my segue into the end of the lesson. We can serve a heathen government. There's verses, even last week, some of the breakroom conversation I usually talk about was about the execution, about the electric chair. And just about everybody that was there agreed that the government had the right to take his life. That was the law, and they could do that. I'm not going to say what group of people I was talking to, but everybody agreed. 15 minutes later, a different group of people were talking about it, and everybody disagreed. It was funny. The different departments, even the people that I work with, was almost split right down the middle. One group was mostly male. I'll say it, they were maintenance and engineering. They all thought the government had the right. Even one of the guys I didn't think knew the Bible, he quoted that God put him in power. And he kind of misquoted it, but he knew that God was in control, which I thought was interesting. The other conversation that I overheard was with a couple of women in sales. I just thought, that's the difference in this country. Guys that are focused on our local issues were more talkative, more direct. The women that dealt with our sales group, making sales and working with customers, talking to people on the phone, were very, in their mind, very liberal for their thoughts. It was really shocking to me to see that much difference, because I thought everybody would think the same thing. It's the government, it's their right. And then several thought that, much like the people that protested, that you should never take a life regardless of what it is. I'm not going to go into that today. Obviously, it bothered me enough that I was thinking about it. But the government we serve has laws to keep us in place, to keep things in check. Without the laws, without the penalties, we'd be a lawless nation very quickly. It would be every man for himself, and only the strong survive. Or we can have laws that everyone can work under. I still think this is the greatest place in the world to live, and we're very blessed to live here, even in Middle Tennessee, I think. It's been a good place, good protected, and religiously we can openly study, which is a gift from God, I think. Jumping back into the book quickly before I digress more. The city of Babel was a great city in the pre-Christian world, ruled the most powerful empire in the world had ever known. This empire lasted 70 years. 70 years. The United States has been going for 230, 40, 60, several more years than that. Not really a world empire, but it's a government that's listed a long time. If you look at the paragraph there in the middle, Daniel served from his rise to his fall. He lived and served under three kings, Nebuchadnezzar, and evil Mendrag. I'm butchering that one bad, for just like only like 4 years. Lavish Murdoch, 1 year, and then Nebuchadnezzar for a couple of years there, and his son, Belshazzar. Daniel's life in Babylon extended from the first year of Nebuchadnezzar's death, reigns the successive 5 kings, past the fall of Babylon into the Persian Empire, and through the reign of Darius, the Mede. Even to the 3rd year of Cyrus, the Persian. All of these warring nations. The city of Babylon, you talk about the ancient historians down here in the rest of this lesson, down at the bottom of that page, how great a city it was, how big it was. Rivers ran through it. That was actually its demise. But it was huge. It talks about the 60 miles around, 15 miles on each side. I'm referring to the bottom paragraph, page 26. A quarter mile space between the walls of the city, all the way around. They're protected with wide canals filled with water, 250 guard towers on the wall with guard rooms, soldiers, 100 gates of brass leading to the city. The Euphrates River divided the city almost into 2 equal parts. Both banks were guarded by brick walls in the way of 25 gates connecting the streets. The ferry boats on the river, there was one bridge of stone piers, 1/2 mile long. In today's modern engineering feats, Babylon has still been amazing. Later on, he talks about the hanging gardens, I think, in the next paragraph. The hanging gardens that were built above Nebuchadnezzar's palace, basically, for the beautiful daughter of built until they conquered Nineveh. There were erected 7 tiers of arches, one over the other, each bearing a solid platform. The terraces on top were covered with flowers and shrubs and trees. Water from the reservoir was raised from the river by hydraulic pumps. Underneath the arches were luxurious apartments and pleasure ground of the palace. These were built while Daniel was the chief governor. He saw how great, how powerful physically they were. They never gave up on the Spirit of God, relying on God, knowing that God's power even made Babylon to become dust in the end. Flip back to your Bibles if you don't mind. I think I hate to say we all know the story, but in chapter 2, verse number 19 starts, I think. We know that in chapter 2 is the first dream of Nebuchadnezzar, where he dreams the dream of the image. He couldn't remember what it was. He couldn't sleep. He goes through the story about he he spake to all the Chaldeans, and they couldn't figure it out. They begged for time, and he knew they were stalking. Basically threatened to kill them. And with all the wise men, I guess that's a strange verse. Verse 10 says, the Chaldeans answered for the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Wherefore there is no king, Lord, or ruler, that ever asked such a thing from any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. It is a rare thing that the king requires, that there is none other that can show it for the king except the gods, whose belly is not in flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. Who did that include? Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Those four were included in his wise men. All these conquering nations that he had taken over, all the wise men, all the best of the best, he had taken back to Babylon. And here, he's getting ready to kill them all. They can't answer his dream. They can't tell him what his dream was. They can't tell him what the interpretation was. He's going to kill them all. If you look on, skip over to verse 17, 16. Chapter 2, verse 16. Then Daniel went in and desired the king that they would give him time that he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his own house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Meshach, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of God of heaven concerning the secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Verse 19, then the secret was revealed unto Daniel in the night vision, and Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Then Daniel goes into a section here talking about his God. Sandra, if you will, read that for me. Since you told me not to read all this, I'll let you have it. Start with verse 20 and go down through 24.
Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changed the times and the seasons. He removeth kings, he setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom to the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known to me now that what we desire of thee, for thou hast made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went into Arioch, whom the king had obtained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon, bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation.
Okay. Then skipping on down, verse 31. Arnold, if you will, start with verse 31 and read down to 35 for us.
Now the king saw us and beheld a great image. This great image is brightness and excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet bright for iron and hard of clay. And sawest till that stone was cut without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, which was of iron and clay, and brake them in pieces. And was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and gold broken to pieces together, and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floor. And the wind carried them away, and a place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth.
It's interesting to think about this dream that he had. Didn't know the interpretation of it, couldn't really tell what it was, but the detail that Daniel tells him matched perfectly. The head of gold, starting there, going down, the breast of silver, all the way down to the feet of clay and iron. The interpretation, Bobby, if you will start with 36, and let's go ahead and read down. If you want to, just read a couple of verses, we'll go around the room and go down through 45.
This is the dream. We will tell the interpretation before the king. Thou, O king, art king of kings, for the king of heaven has given thee the kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And who
whosoever the children of men will, beasts of the field, and the fowls of the heaven, hath he given into one hand, and made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom, inferior to thee, another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all earth.
Verse 40.
What?
Verse 40. You want to read a few verses? Verse 40. Chapter 10.
Lord, you know, it's hard. Can I comment?
Yep.
This is one of the few times that I've observed history for us in detail. And anybody knows history and knows what happened to the Roman Babylonian kingdom and knows that there's no way anybody could know this except God. Seems to me to be proof possible that God was inspired.
Should be without a doubt. I think that's one thing that's amazing about the.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4 years when the kingdom was established. And no other kingdom's ever been laid out like that. Or could it have been?
Even what Arnold just read about when he broke the stone that was cut without hands, break all the other pieces, and they scattered like chaff in the summer threshing floors. The wind carried them away, and nothing was found of them. That's even evident too. The world kingdom don't exist now, and probably will never exist because the kingdom of God's in place now.
I think if people could know enough history and can't even handle it, if they could look at verse 44 and know what was going on, they had to recognize that one church and God set it up.
That's one of the things as we talk to people, about the Bible, about the Church of Christ.
I've often wondered how other churches pick themselves into this.
But I think I'm guessing. I think most of the people that are in the denominations think that the church is universal. If you're religious and a Christian, you're in the same church. I don't think they
got a clue as to what it is.
I don't think they want to make it an issue. If they did make that issue, they'd go back and find that there is only one.
I think verse 44 of chapter 2 is one of the most important verses of the Old Testament to understand. But that tells you when the Church of Christ is going to be established. It also tells you it shall never be left to other people. God's not going to turn it over to the world. And it tells you it shall stand velvet. If you believe that, you'll have no trouble believing Baptist. I'm sorry, I should have said.
No, I appreciate it. That's like I said, when I picked up this book, that's one of the things that I kept thinking about was every one of these characters in the Old Testament pointed toward the New Testament, and especially Daniel.
But God sure told us where it was going to be established, when it was going to be established, how long it's going to last. Never be destroyed.
Go ahead and start there with verse 44 and read 4 or 5 verses there.
44.
44.
40. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and it shall break in pieces and bruise. Whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part is clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. There shall be in it strength of iron. For much as I saw iron mixed with clay, and the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. You know, man couldn't come up with that. You had to have somebody's help. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with clay, and with the seed of men, but they should not cleave one another, if his iron is not mixed with clay. Now here marks verse 44, when the Church of Christ was set up. never be destroyed. That's the church. And the kingdom shall not live with those people, but it shall break in pieces and shall all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Aren't you glad it said that? God guaranteed the church to be here. And it didn't say it would go through hard times. Will it be here? I'll stop there. I'll stop there.
Seriously, look at that cross reference there in Psalms 2, verse 9, also 1 Corinthians 15:24 in the New Testament. And like I said, there's other parallels that the prophecy comes true. Verse 46, you drop down, and King Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and worshipped Daniel and commanded that they should offer an oblation of sweet odors unto him. The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal the secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man, gave him many great gifts, and made him a ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and the chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested the king that he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat at the gate of the king. Because of this interpretation, he was elevated even higher power, higher service to King Nebuchadnezzar. Chapter 3 goes into King Nebuchadnezzar building an image. Again, Daniel praying as his manner was 3 times a day before Jerusalem and the lion's den. I was going to read that, but I don't think we have time for that. Later on in Daniel, after the death of King Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar the king made a great feast in chapter 5. There are verses all through here that point to the God of heaven being the only God there is. I've always liked the handwriting on the wall references, making it very plain there at the end of chapter 5. If you look at the things that he said, King spake and said earlier, behold, it is not the great Babylon that I built for the house of my kingdom, and the might of my power, and the honor of my majesty. While the word was yet in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven, saying, King Nebuchadnezzar, the deed is spoken to kings departed from thee, and they shall drive thee out of the beasts of the field.
You believe, and we believe, church, most of the church believe, verse 32.
32 of chapter 2.
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4, 4:32. Okay. I'll jump through that. Drive out and run the beast of the field. And you make the grass and oxen 7 times, so it pass over thee, till thou know the most high will keep the men, and give it to whosoever he will. That's actually the verse that I was thinking about earlier. I don't think that verse. The end part of it, the high ruler for the kingdom of men, and give it to whosoever he will. Much like the Israelites when they wanted a king, because the other nations had it, I think God will allow us to give us what we deserve. And many times, if you think about the Old Testament, the heathen nations that God used to correct the children of Israel, like you said, it doesn't say it's going to last forever. It doesn't say it's going to be easy. And luckily, like right now, it's been very easy. The other writing reference was the great party, the great feast that Belshazzar, Nebuchadnezzar's son, was having. In chapter 5 it says, and thus it is written, meaning killing Parsis, there's an interpretation thereof. God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Thou art weighed in the balances and found wanting. Thy kingdom is divided and given to the needs of virgins. Then commanded Belshazzar that they clothe Daniel in scarlet, put a chain of gold about his neck, and the proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler over the kingdom. In verse 30, in that mountain Belshazzar the king of the Chaldeans slain, and Darius the medium took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So the prophecy, the fulfillments, all through here, God was with Daniel all throughout his life. Let's move quickly, if you will, to the questions. And we'll quickly go through these. Number one, how did Daniel come to Babylon? He was a captive. He was a slave. He was the best of the best. And King Nebuchadnezzar wanted him to serve him in his palace. First, question number 2 asks about Josephus, the historian. What does he say about the ancestry of Daniel? Daniel himself was an ancestor or a descendant of who? Hezekiah's king. Hezekiah king. The king of Judah. So they were royal blood. They were taken anyway. They were not slain, but they were taken to serve. Number 3 is where were Daniel's companions brought into the palace of Babylon? Or why were they brought there? For 3 years they were going to be what? Educated, trained, brought up to serve Nebuchadnezzar, fed with the best of the best. But Daniel refused. Number 4, he purposed his heart. That's the verse that I read about. He would not defile himself with the king's meat and wine. What does it mean to defile yourself?
These things of the law that God forbid.
So you disobeyed by doing this thing, it was a sin. You were breaking God's law. God had said not to do these things, and many times, in this case, Daniel points it out that he's not going to defile himself.
You would like to live in this time, but you had to have courage to live the Christian life.
I like what we got right now. Even going back and be able to see the great kingdoms and stuff would be very interesting, but I think we got it made more so than anyone else in history.
I think one of the most amazing passages in all the Bible, Daniel 5, when the hand started writing the book. And there's a sense that's true of every one of us.
Yeah, there's many times we don't, we make reference to not seeing the handwriting on the wall.
I'm saying.
No, I'm glad. Like I said, I'm just doing kind of a splattering all through Daniel and going back to the book. Put down, if you will. We know that they gave him beans and water for 10 days, and the 4 of them looked as good as anyone else did. So they allowed him to keep eating the beans and meat, not defiling himself. When they evaluated him in Daniel 1, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Daniel, there were none like these, 10 times better than all the others. So God was with him, protecting him, and making sure that he didn't know that they did not defile themselves. Verse 8, number 8, why was Nebuchadnezzar so concerned with the dream that he had during the 2nd year of his reign? What did he do? What was the problem with this dream? He didn't remember the dream itself. He didn't know the interpretation, but it bothered him. One of the references said that the sleep escaped him. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't sleep at night. He was so bothered and so worried about what the dream meant that he couldn't sleep. So, and then later on, he became angry because Chaldeans couldn't figure out what it was. Then we talk about how Daniel interpreted the dream in question number 10. God gave him the answer after the 4 of them had prayed and asked God what this meaning was. Number 11. To whom did Daniel give credit for this revelation?
God.
The God in heaven. The God. Not a God, the God. I think that's interesting to think. There is only one true living God. Again, we highlight that, bring it over to the New Testament. All the references there carry on throughout all the Bible. There's only one. Describe the image. What we read, the head was of what material? Gold. Thou art the head of gold. Then the next kingdom represented by the silver, and the breast and arms, and the bellies and thighs of brass, and the legs of iron, which was the rolling arm. The reference there, if you think about the iron, weapons were of iron and metal, but they traveled. They walked the highways that they built. They walked on the plain. Very interpretive if you think about the simplicity. Us looking back at it can see how clear and how evident that is. But to him, it was still pretty amazing that he was the head of gold. If you think about it, he started it all, world kingdom. The other reference is the verse 14, or question 14, excuse me. Have the four kingdoms seen by Daniel, Babylon, Medo Persia, Grecian, and the Roman Empire all passed away by now? Yes, they're all in history books. They're all recorded, but they've all passed away. There's no place for them. Darius taught the king make a request of any god or any man for 30 days. Daniel refused. He obeyed God as before. Stoned the lions den. Darius was ashamed of what he had written, but was basically trapped in his own laws. But his God had protected him. It's interesting to think what Darius says when he goes to Daniel the next morning. It's also interesting to think about the ones that came and told basically the king about Daniel serving his God. Although Daniel was brought out of the lion's den, they were cast in the lion's den. The lions had their way with them. They ate them, crushed their bones for the evil they had done or tried to do. We'll call it quits right there. Like I said, this was a thin brushing of Daniel. But I think that's quite a bit to think about. During the Roman conquest, Roman Empire, church would be established. The stone cut without hands, cut by God, never be destroyed. And the parallels should encourage us every day, especially to try to be more like Daniel, more like Christ. Thank you very much for your reading comments.